Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are back with another author chat video. If you are new here, you should know that my name is Vanessa and I'm an author from Toronto, Canada, and I publish under the pen name A.N. Sage. I write a lot of cozy mystery and fantasy, and now I am dabbling in thriller, and we'll talk about that in a second. But usually sometime in the month I do these types of author chat videos where I catch you up on my plans for the month, what I've got going on. It's almost like accountability for me, which I have started an accountability kind of series on TikTok to keep myself moving forward with writing, but that's a whole different thing. Over here, we talk all things writing and everything that's going on kind of in an author's life. I have been indie published and trad published with a smaller publisher, so I kind of talk about writing and authoring from the perspective of somebody who has done both, and also from the perspective of somebody who does other things on the side. So there's a lot of creative talk here. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then come join us in this growing community. Make sure that you're subscribed and that you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. Now, with that said, first thing to note, it is a very bright and sunny here, which is shocking because it's winter time in Canada and that should be very gloomy. But because of that, this side of my face is going to get very, very blown out. Probably I'm trying to block the light as much as I can, but we have one of those sheer curtains in this area of the house. So enjoy the sunny happiness, I suppose. We'll see what we can do in post-production, I guess. But what is going on in my life as an author for February? So quite a bit, actually. I have done a video just recently, the last video that we did. Usually we start the month with a planner video, but I figured we already did some bullet journal and planning videos in January. And then the last video I did was actually on the reading journal that I designed, the 100-year journal. So a lot of my life right now revolves around marketing it, promoting it, getting it out on Bookstagram, and getting samples to people because we finally have them in stock. I'm also working on trying to bring these in-house so that I can ship them from my end. I find that if I use other services that are not Canada Post, but like Chit Chats and things like that, that it's actually affordable to ship for me. The only thing is having inventory in, because it takes so long. Right now, these are on Amazon. I also have gotten my own copies from Ingram Spark. They're pretty much the same thing. But it takes so long to get anything shipped with both of these. They're just a headache. Ingram Spark is a headache to deal with, and I don't think I'll ever deal with them again, but that's a conversation for another time. And KDP takes forever and a day to ship things to you and to ship things to your customers. So now I'm trying to figure out like how many I can realistically get, what the demand for these are. Once I have the demand figured out, it's going to be easier to stock them and to ship them from me. And this way I can package it cute. So that's on the agenda on that side of the business. As always, cover design. I have some really big projects with some really big authors that I've signed with coming up this month and the month after. So that's pretty exciting. So that's moving along and taking up quite some time. And then a bunch of stuff is happening on the writing side. So I do have the coaching side. So I am also a book coach, but I've started coaching a lot of nonfiction recently, and I find I'm really loving it. The thing that I always say is that if you're writing fiction, I'm more than happy to coach you through it, especially if it's a genre I'm supremely familiar with. But I think that for fiction writers, if you are on a budget, you are better yet but spending that money not on a book coach, but on a developmental editor. And most book coaches will do that because it's kind of a part of what you do as a coach is you offer some editing on the development side of the story. But for the most part, the point of the coach is to get you to finish the book, to finish the manuscript. You can also continue on and help people with queries or self-publishing, but the majority of your work will be getting to that finished stage of the manuscript. And with something like fiction, I find writers usually, they have blocks, but they're very excited to write, right? And so it's not, not as much, there's research, but a different kind of research. And so you need a little less encouragement, brainstorming help, all that kind of stuff. Also, a lot of times fiction authors, while we like to be on our own, we do have a community of other authors that we talk to and we brainstorm with that. And so if you're paying somebody to help you with these types of things, it just makes more sense to take that money and put it in the developmental edit, which I also do for a lot of my fiction authors that I work with. But on the coaching side, I've been doing a lot of nonfiction, working with people who have programs, who are doing self-help books, memoirs, things like that. And it's been super enjoyable for me. I really love it. I love the books that we are putting out there. And I love working with these first-time authors or even 10-time authors that just need like somebody to talk things out with, somebody to help them structure their chapters, somebody to help them with accountability, figuring out how often they're going to write, somebody to read over their chapters and see if the whole thing flows together. So that has been really, really a humbling experience for me, because it helps me meet other people who are so amazing at what they do, that isn't just writing. And that's been very exciting. And I get to know these people's life stories, which are always very, very interesting and so powerful and so just eye-opening to listen to. So I've been absolutely adoring that side of my business. And one thing that I have added, so what I have done, I'm not taking any more copy editing, proofreading, or line editing. I have completely taken that off of my, I guess, my menu of things that I offer on that side of the business, on the SSH side of the business. I decided I don't want to do that. I don't have time. Not that I don't want to do it, but I just don't have time. So right now, all I'm offering is book coaching and developmental edits. And one exciting thing I've added this week is ghostwriting. Now hear me out, because I talk about time, but I have so many ideas, first of all, and I always love to write, and writing comes fairly easily to me, which is nothing to, I'm not like bragging, and it took a lot of hard work to get here, but I don't have a problem with writing. And because I'm always locked in to these different contracts and series and books that I already have been pre-decided, because I am working with a publisher, it is very difficult for me to squeeze things in that don't have anything to do with what we have already agreed that I'm going to be working on. And so I figured with ghostwriting, all these stories can come to life for somebody else. They don't have to be for me. So I've added that this week, and I already have signed my first client, and I'm very, very excited. Super stoked. Obviously, I won't be saying anything about who it is. As a ghostwriter, you don't talk about, unless you're allowed to, you don't usually disclose the person that you're ghostwriting for. But I'm very excited to do this because I think it will let me keep writing. And that's the goal, right? Is just to write. So that's fun. And now on to my own books. So I always leave this part kind of for last because it's the fun part for me and for everybody, for you, I hope, too. But on the book side, I am right now right in the middle of 6 Brews under. So if you follow me on social media, you know I've been posting. And we have 2 pre-orders up in Orchard Hollow right now, which is nerve-wracking and exciting. On the plus side, Devil in the French Press came back with just the most amazing editorial review I have ever received. I am so excited about this book. They just loved it. It's off with a proofer now, and we are really moving along. So next step is formatting and getting it out there, and that's just mind-boggling. It's almost here. I'll post the links for both of these below, of course. But then what had happened was, because Devil in the French Prince required so little editing on my end, I was able to move forward with my schedule. And so we were able to put 6 Brews on there on pre-order as well. And that book is in the works. Now, I will say this is a really fun, so there's 2 books in the Orchard Hollow series that I'm really excited to write. One of them is 6 Brews Under, and another one is going to come around the holidays. And the reason that I'm excited is because they're like a different location. And so I'm not going to give more away from it than that. I mean, you can read in the blurb that there's a vacation that Piper goes on, but I won't say where it is. But I just love the idea of getting to research another location. And I actually picked a location. I'm setting it on a place that I often go to. And so I thought that it might be fun because I could add a lot more knowledge to it, because I have been there like a million times. And so I'm calling it something else, but I'm structuring it on this place that I am very, very familiar with. And I think that will give it a lot of that cozy community feeling, even though it's in a different place. It's not in Orchard Hollow. So that's super fun. So working on that, and check out the cover for that too, because Harry Houdini is on every single cover, obviously, of the Orchard Hollow series. But in this one, he is extra cute, I think. And when you're looking at both of this cover and The Devil in the French Press, see if you can find some of the Easter eggs. So the covers for this cozy series and for every series that I do in Cozy Mystery always has Easter eggs from the books. And a lot of times I do this because I design the covers myself, and I do it before I start plotting and writing the book, or right after I start plotting, but before I start writing. And I do that for a very specific reason, because as I start adding elements to visually bring the cover together, it ends up giving me ideas for the books. And so sometimes I'll think of things like the murder weapons, or different locations where things can happen, or even clues that I can then plant into the book. And so the Easter eggs are plenty in these covers. So see if you can kind of figure out what they are. And then the other thing I'm doing for my own books, which is a departure for me, and I am both thrilled and absolutely anxiously filled with dread about it, is I am working on a thriller. Now, I have written thrillers before. I have not published them because I don't think I want to publish thrillers under A.N. Sage. I think that's going to be under SSH, which is just like my name. So I don't think it's going to go under the same pen name, because they're going to be on the darker side, and they're going to be very much on that suspense and thriller side, and not at all in the fantasy, magic, cutesy kind of YA/cozy mystery world that I am in right now with A.N. Sage. So this thriller, I'm not going to say anything about it because I am still working on it. But so far, I've gotten through the first chapter, and I'm going through and editing it for myself, and then I'm moving on. And I'm plotting it at the same time. But I will say that it is a thriller Hansel and Gretel retelling with a possibly paranormal twist. Now, I said no magic, so that should kind of show you where I'm sitting with this. I'm trying to think of good comp titles. So kind of, let's see. Rules for Vanishing comes to mind, but Rules for Vanishing is very much more fantasy. So maybe the beginning of Rules for Vanishing, but in that same world, Our Last Echoes. Our Last Echoes would be a good close comparison for this. But not quite, because I don't want to lean heavy on the paranormal, as I already mentioned. There will be kind of these hints, and you'll always be questioning if something is real or not, because it's a retelling of a fairy tale, and kind of like a grim one, if you think about it, no pun intended. But I think it could work for this. And I've already written kind of a small portion of it, and I've let somebody else, a few people, read the hook or the first page of this whole book, and they loved it. So that gives me a lot of hope. But as I'm starting to write more and more in it, I will share more about this whole thing. The sun just went down, by the way, so now it's just my forehead. But I'll share more about it, and you can go on this adventure with me of writing something that is much darker. I am trying to figure out how dark I want to go with this, because obviously if it's a retelling of Hansel and Gretel, this is for adults, so the main characters will be adults. However, I don't know how I feel about talking too much about dark things that happened with children are involved. And so I'm trying to see how I can plot this so I am comfortable with it, but also that it's kind of, spooky as hell. And then there's that thriller and suspense and somewhat mystery aspect to it. So yeah, that's where we are. That's basically this month in a nutshell, and kind of what my process is. If you have ordered the 100-year journal, when you finally do get it from Amazon, because it takes forever and a day, please let me know what you think of it. And like I said, I am trying to bring them in-house and make that whole process a lot faster. But also, if you are currently writing a thriller and you have any tips that you want to give me, because I am somewhat new to the genre, like I said, I've written them before, but I haven't published them. So please, in the comments, give me like a little, I don't know, skull face or knife emoji, and then give me all of your tips, because I'd love to hear them. So with that said, as always, thank you so much for listening to me blabber on and for being part of this community. If you need resources as an author, please take a look at the resource library and all of the templates that they have there. They're completely free. All you have to do is sign up with an email, and you get a link and a password that you can use to get everything and download them from for your use, for personal use, of course. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking around, for hanging out with me and being part of this author chat. And I will see you next week for another video. Bye.